What's going on, everyone? My name is Twig, and today we're going to be talking about Undomestic, an early access title that is still in the early development stage but has been released on Steam for $9.99 currently, with it being as low as $4.99 back in February according to SteamDB. This is not going to be one of my review after 100% series videos like I've been putting out recently, but a part of a new series that I wanted to do for games that either don't have achievements or games that I've been sent a code for that I just want to check out and play. This game happens to be from both of those categories. Tempest Studios reached out and emailed me a code to try out their newest game, which was released in July of last year, I believe. So I tried it out, and even though it doesn't have achievements, I wanted to record some gameplay and do a first look review on it where I give my thoughts. Honestly, I think these types of videos will help me to balance my 100% reviews where I'm not just grinding every game to completion for each video. So if you're watching or listening to this, then just let me know what you think in the comments below or shoot me a message on Steam. Without further ado, let's get this first look review going. So, Undomestic is a survival base building RPG, and like I said before, this is an early access title in the early development phase, and Tempest Studios is a small team of 3 developers, so you have to take that in consideration when playing through this game. You're greeted with dialogue text at the beginning stating this before you hop right into your first quest. The time period seems like it is set in the medieval age, and the tutorial quest takes you to the main city named Havenbrook, where you meet up with this fellow named Uncle Roger, who informs you that you've washed up on the shore of this mysterious island and you have no recollection of your past. After you learn how to gather resources, build your house, complete some combat training, practice hunting and cooking, and then craft your weapon, you are sent off on the main quest to rid the nearby area of enemies. The game looks beautiful, but I was having some graphical issues where I would get lag spikes while trying to turn or move quickly in some areas, which drove me mad, so I had to just turn everything down to low settings to make the game run as smoothly as possible. I am running a 4070 and my complete PC specs can be found on my Steam profile for anyone interested in those. I was playing this game with one of my friends, and the first thing I mentioned about the graphics was just how beautiful the water is. The movement feels good, and I like the first-person view, but having a third-person view option would be nice and be able to switch to it while traversing the environment. Speaking of the environment, the map of the island seems small when you open your map, but traversing this thing is a different story. There are currently about 6 different types of creatures that you can kill and get resources from, along with a few different human bandit enemy types, each with their own weapons. The main city is pretty big and feels alive with NPCs everywhere doing their task, and storefront employees that you can interact with in order to make certain things, like different weapons or armor. Some of the NPCs aren't voiced yet, or are voiced up until a certain point, but I actually don't mind dialogue-only options. It doesn't seem like there is necessarily a character leveling system, but more focused on the skills that you perform in the game, which are broken into 2 categories. Gathering is one, and then crafting and refining is the other. For example, the more trees that you cut down, your logging skill will rise. The proportions of how quick these skills seem to rise seems like they might need to be fine-tuned, but we'll talk more about that in a minute. The higher your skill is in, say, smithing, the better armor that you can craft, which will in turn help you in combat. Honestly, I like the combat. The first thing that it reminded me of was Oblivion sword swinging, except with the occasional weight behind your swing which stops you from outright spamming attack. I noticed right off the bat that the basic sword was taking forever to kill some things, and the basic armor that you start out with doesn't protect you all that well. There is not visible durability that I could see, although one of my swords showed that it would sell for far less than the other. Enemy health bars would also be amazing to have, because when fighting multiple enemies and having to juggle them around, I get mixed up which one I've already whacked a couple times. Your character doesn't really react to being hit, so you have to pay attention to your health bar because it can be drained very quickly. Although enemies sometimes stagger or react, which is cool to have for immersion. I'm a huge fan of the character model being shown in the inventory menu, but I would definitely love there to be the health, hunger, water, and stamina bars in there as well to see how much food or water we need to drink without having to close the menu, even though I use the hotbars for consumables after a while. One thing to note is that hitting the escape key doesn't seem to currently pause the game, so your hunger and thirst will drain if you leave your game open. I wasn't a really big fan of the build menu system where you have to click through the drop down menu to make something, and then if you back out, it resets the build menu and you have to go through it all over again. Placing the crafted items and actually building felt and worked amazing though. You learn to build through your tutorial quest, and the questing in this game seemed to work pretty good up until I guess I ran into a bug. I'm not sure how many quests are currently in the game, but I wanted to do as many as I could before reviewing this game just to see the variety of content. After the series of tutorial quests, you are sent to help deal with nearby enemies of the city, and then you are tasked with taking out their leader. After I killed him, my quest was updated with report back to the soldier leader, but when I reported back, the only prompt I had was that I didn't complete the assignment. I'm thinking that maybe I messed up the quest by not killing all the other soldiers in the camp, because I ran in there and just juggled the enemies around until I killed the leader, and then I got the quest update, so I left. Enemies have really short aggro ranges, so it's easy to run into a camp and grab the loot. Also ran into prompts being stuck on my screen from previous quests, and then quitting out didn't seem to fix that. Another thing that would greatly benefit the game that I couldn't find is the ability to have multiple save slots, because I couldn't load a previous save to test things out, and even on death I didn't lose any progress or items, but if your game crashes and you haven't saved, you will lose progress. I kind of wanted to make a list of some additions that I believe would help make the game flow more easily, or some quality of life add-ons, and some of these things the team over at Tempest may already be working on or have planned for future updates. Custom key bindings would be a game changer, sensitivity settings, a dedicated build interface, enemy health bars like I mentioned before, multiple save slots would be an awesome quality of life feature, fast travel points would make traversing the map much more enjoyable, visible weapon stats for each type of weapon, a third-person view. Online co-op isn't a must-have, but I could definitely see myself playing this game with friends like I do in games such as The Forest. And then, of course, I would love to see achievements implemented in the future. Overall, this game shows a ton of promise, and there's definitely hard work put into this project. I want to thank the people over at Tempest Studios for the game code, and I've honestly had a fun time getting to play through your game so far, and I look forward to more updates and content added in the future. The game isn't perfect, but that's the beauty about making games and seeing the vision come to life. As always, thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this type of review, feel free to hit the like button. I'm currently working on a few games at once to get 100% review videos done and uploaded as soon as possible. This game was a fun one to check out for game night and give my thoughts on it. My Steam profile will be linked below. Feel free to add me on there, and I will catch you in the next one. Peace out.